This is episode 4 of Spiritual AF with Pixie Rose, the podcast for people going on their spiritual journey, knowing that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. As previously mentioned, I have always felt a deep connection with the moon. At 14 years old, I felt the moon calling me in the middle of the night. And since then, regularly go out and spend time at night with the moon, just communicating. Sometimes I dance with the moon. I cleanse myself under the moon, my crystals. I make moon water. In 2015, I attended the Seven Sisters Festival in Melbourne. And I attended a workshop titled Love Your Cycle. This workshop was all about how we as women are cyclic beings that sync up often naturally with the moon. Both women and the moon have a 28-day cycle, and each week is a different phase. We as women are connected to the moon because 60% of our body is made up of water. The moon was once part of the earth. An asteroid hit. A piece of the earth broke off, and this is the moon. The moon controls the tides of our ocean. So this is all part of why we tune in to the moon and why we sync up with the moon. Understanding these moon phases and our own cycles can help with so many aspects of our life. It can help us understand ourselves more, to why some weeks our creative energy just flows and then other weeks we just want to sit on the couch and relax. To then getting a burst of energy and easily being able to tick off your to-do list. And then another week you're so unproductive, all you want to do is catch up with friends and chat. Having an understanding of these cycles can help us implement and plan our month ahead, especially within your business. When you know you will excel at certain things that you want to achieve. Also, sharing this information with the men in our lives can also help them gain more insight to why we are such strange creatures and we are the way we are. Our cycle is important. You can't change it. But when you make it work for yourself rather than going against it and just flow through the phases. The phases of the moon begin at day 1 of our own moon cycle, our menstruation cycle. So this is called the reflective phase. This is often the new moon for most women. But for me personally, my cycle falls on the full moon. So the reason why this is back in the tribal days, when you were on your cycle, when you were menstruating, the women would go off usually and just spend this time in rest and being all together. But of course, there was always work to be done. So naturally, some women would, or most women would fall on the new moon. And then there would be a group of women that would take their turn to cycle with the full moon. So for this, we will just explain it as the new moon. But really the best way is to just start tracking it and connecting with the moon and becoming more conscious of your own cycle. So this reflective time in our cycle may even start before your bleed. But as you begin tracking it, you can just sort of start at day 1 of your cycle. This is also known as the winter phase. So it's a time for deep inner processing and reflecting. So this is the time when we just go inwards, we slow down, we detach from the outcomes, we really let go. This can also be a time where our intuition is heightened. We have access to infinite knowledge and we are feeling orientated rather than goal orientated or driven. We generally have lower mental and physical energies. because this is the time to pause. And for me personally, I never used to take this time. And this is most women, is we don't stop and we don't take that time to reflect. So what happened to me, and this is what happens to many people, because our bodies are the vessel, the temple, and our body gives us messages. So what happened to me a couple of years ago was, in order to get me to stop during this time in my menstruation, I would receive a migraine. And it was such an intense migraine that I was forced to stop. And it would hurt to move around. And I just literally just wanted to lay down in bed. So if we don't take this time to stop, our bodies will force it upon us. So this is the time that you really just want to relax, rest, do the things that you enjoy doing, do the things that help you relax. So whether that's just watching TV is fine to do in this period, but really it's the best time to journal and reflect and just go inwards. You generally don't want to socialize and be around other people. It's really a good time to just focus on yourself. Within business, this is the time where you can really just reflect on how everything is going for yourself and reflect on maybe some changes you might want to make or things that aren't working. Just tuning into that intuition. So that is days 1 to 3. Next, days 8 to 14 is the dynamic phase. So this is when the moon is waxing usually, and this is also known as springtime. So this is our most energetic time within physically. This is the time where you are planning everything and structuring everything. This is when your attention to detail is really focused. You're very goal orientated. This is when the to-do lists start getting ticked off. You're very self-motivated and self-driven. You have really heightened concentration and memory. You're not very empathetic in this phase. It's not the best time to be connecting with people because you are very driven in what needs to get done. So within business, this is a really good time to schedule your month. This is a good time to plan your content for the month, to organize your calendar and your schedule, book in meetings or interviews, whatever you're doing within your business. This is the dynamic phase when you can plan ahead, keeping in mind that the next week you will go into your expressive phase. In between this dynamic phase and expressive phase is generally your ovulation time. So your expressive phase for most may be around the full moon. This is also known as the summertime. So there's a lot of energy around this time of the month. Often it can be really happy, joyful energy, but if this is around the full moon, then it can be pretty crazy and emotional time as well. Because it's your expressive phase, this is the time where you're social, you're very empathic, you're very caring and loving. Also, that ovulation time can impact that as well. So this is the time when you're feeling really good and you just want to tell everyone about it. So your communication is really great. So for me, this is the time where I'm sending really lengthy text messages. So this is a great time to get all your emails done. It's not necessarily creative energy, it's expressive. So expressing your feelings. This is also the time that I like to do all of my catch-ups. So any sort of networking events are great at this time. Like I said, I'm opposite. So generally the new moon is better energy for me in my expressive phase. The new moon energy, I'm just really, I just feel all this excitement energy, and I just want to share that with everybody. So that's days 15 to 21. And then next on days 22 to 28 is your creative phase. So this is usually when the moon is waning and this is also called autumn. Now, this may be commonly referred to as your PMS sort of stage. So this is the time when you are very creative. So we may only get 1 week in the month when we're in our creative state. So getting to know these phases, you can really allow yourself to surrender to this creative phase, because it might not be there the next week, because the next week you go back into that reflective phase. So that creative energy is really important to be harnessed when you feel it. So again, this can be a time where you can be very emotional, you can be very intuitive. This might be a really magical week for you. You might feel really wise and feel like you have access to this deep knowledge. You might feel really critical on yourself and feel the need to analyze things and to problem solve. This is the time when you may be inspired to just clear out anything that doesn't serve you. You might have a lot of enthusiasm in this week, a lot of motivation, but not necessarily that dynamic type of motivation where you appear to be getting lots of things done, but it is still a really important time. So you might feel really passionate throughout this week, but also very frustrated. And especially if you're not able to surrender to this creative flow, you might feel very frustrated by that. And then slowly as this week goes ahead, you'll feel this gradual decrease in your physical energy and your mental energy, and also your emotional sensitivity as you're moving into your cycle again. As human beings connected to the earth and the moon, it is really important to embrace this connection to the seasons and to nature and to our natural states. Feeling into your menstrual cycle and connecting with the moon and being out in nature is a perfect way to achieve this. So the best way to do this is to simply start connecting, start becoming conscious of your own cycle and becoming conscious of the moon. Check in on yourself, and journaling is the best way to do this. Journaling has become such an incredible tool for me. It's a big part of my spiritual practice, and I just highly recommend it for anybody, especially if you do struggle with that reflective phase. Also, when you're journaling every day, you have the opportunity to go back and to look at how you felt a week ago or 2 weeks ago or the same time next month, and it just gives you this greater awareness to yourself. Now, this might not necessarily resonate with everybody if you don't feel naturally connected to the moon. But if this is resonating with you, honestly, this has really helped me, and especially in business and just being able to surrender to my natural state, just having this understanding of myself. Also, if this is a topic that you might feel a little bit of shame around your cycle, this is also the perfect time for you to reflect on that and journal out, where did this come from? Where did this shame start? Do you experience pain in your cycle? This is not our natural state. We should not be feeling pain. And if you do get period pains, is that your body encouraging you to stop what you're doing? Some women also have a lot of complaints around this time of the month. Reflect on your complaints. Find gratitude for this amazing experience that we have as women. It's just incredible that our body gets ready to conceive a baby every single month. Find some gratitude for yourself, for your body. Look into rituals that might help let go of these negative thoughts and emotions, and find some self-love. Be open to shifting and changing. We are cyclic beings. We are not supposed to be in that dynamic phase all the time. We are not supposed to be going and using all this energy all of the time. We are supposed to stop. We are supposed to have a period of energy and be able to utilize this period of energy. We have weeks where we're more expressive than others, allowing this natural creativity to flow within us. What does menstruating mean to you? Look into what your body is doing. You'll see it's truly incredible. Also, check out my YouTube channel, Pixie Rose, for channeled messages every month. I am very connected to the energy of the moon, and with that energy, I am able to give a little prediction and a bit of a what to expect for the month ahead. Thank you for listening to this episode. I do hope it resonates with you, and if it does, please like and subscribe and share this podcast. I'd really appreciate it. And the things that don't resonate, you can leave them. You don't have to take everything on board. This is not gospel. This is just my thoughts and feelings and my experiences, and I'm just happy to share them with you all. But you may find that some things resonate and some things don't, and that's fine. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you if you don't resonate to the cycles of the moon. Thanks again for listening. Don't forget to follow this podcast for more interdimensional conversations on all things life, death, and everything in between. And remember, even if your wings have been clipped off, they can always regrow.